Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's live webinar. I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Time Research and Innovation. And today we have a very special event, and we're going to be talking about sustainability and sustainability on merchandising. And we have a special guest with me today. So, if you are watching this live webinar through LinkedIn or any other social media, feel free to ask us questions through the comment box. And we're going to be discussing all about sustainability, merchandising, and marketing specifically, how you can increase contribution and as well as business growth through merchandising. So I have a special guest today, and she is Gillian Cartle-Blend. And you probably know Gillian very well due to her work in sustainability, and she has received sustainability awards last year, and as well as working on sustainability. And she's the MD of Vida Promotions. Hello, Gillian. Thank you very much for joining today's live webinar.
Hi, Dr. Shadiki. Thanks for the opportunity.
So, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you. In this rainy day down in the New Forest, all good, thank you. I'm looking forward to this webinar.
Thank you. So, Gillian, before pandemic, and sustainability was raising in the limelight because people were talking about sustainability, plastic free. And before the pandemic, you know that in the UK we discarded plastics, and a lot of other things came upon after that. Sustainable thing was like a posh thing before. Like, okay, if you wanted to think about sustainability, it's like upper class. Now it's for everyone. Last 6 7 years, now everyone thinking sustainability. And part of the sustainable thing, um, business developments and business promotions as well as marketing is core. And I have seen the shift towards a plastic based or unsustainable product to sustainable product is raising hugely. So big corporation, they specifically started it, but now it is going through to the root level as well. So my first question to you to start our conversation would be, why promotional product is significant in modern marketing?
Yes, yeah, thank you for that question. Definitely, the whole world is having to change, especially since COVID. And our industry, particularly in promotional merchandise, because we were very much the contributors to the plastic out there in the world. And so we've had to have a look at our whole industry and change the way we manufacture and the products that we are supplying. There are still a lot of them out there, but specifically our company, Vida Promotions, we are only actually making sustainable merchandise available. So merchandise on the whole has always played a role, but nowadays it's actually playing an even bigger role in terms of what type of merchandise we're putting out there. And one of the reasons that it does play a role is that, for an example, the insights shared by the Advertising Standards Specialty Institute has found that promotional merchandise has the ability to be seen and therefore showcase your brand multiple times in its lifetime. So, for example, a hoodie has the potential to have over 6,000 impressions in its lifetime, and a pen over 3,000 impressions in its lifetime. So, that's with merchandise, it's not something that can be switched off, like you can see an advert and you can switch it off and it's, you only see it for a few seconds. But with your brand on merchandise, it has huge potential to be seen, for years and years and years.
Thank you. And that was great to understand the good thing of merchandising. And when we talk about merchandising, companies, relatively, I have seen that when they are small, they started, they really don't have the budget. And they also think there is a stereotyping, I would say, that sustainable merchandising is very expensive, so they cannot afford it, even
Mm.
though they don't look for it or they don't search it. So, in relation with the sustainable merchandising and the other type of merchandising, like, okay, those businesses, they don't worry about sustainability or plastic or anything else. What's the difference between the sustainable merchandising and the unsustainable merchandising in between? What people should prioritize now?
Um, Okay, so obviously the non-sustainable merchandise is still available and out there, and so a lot of companies, also going back to COVID, were actually left still with merchandise, and so part of being still being sustainable, obviously, is not to get rid of that merchandise and bring in sustainable merchandise, because that in itself is not sustainable. So if you have merchandise still, then obviously you need to work through that merchandise, and then when it comes time to reordering, to actually take a look, at your inventories and see what it is you have. And that's actually not just with merchandise, it's with everything within your office and within your business. Is that, I always say to people, everyone's very quick to press the reorder button, for anything, that they're ordering within their business. But there needs to just be a stop and a pause to say, okay, what can we order that actually is more sustainable? And whether you're a small business or a big corporation, there are products that will fit every budget. So, you know what I mean? There is no excuse for saying, oh, sustainable merchandise or sustainable products are too expensive. There is always something that can suit your budget.
That was a great answer, Jillian. And thank you very much for joining today's live webinar. And to all the audience, if you're watching this live webinar through LinkedIn or any other social media, please feel free to ask us questions. And if you wanted to contact Jillian directly, she can be found on LinkedIn and as well as all other social media. And if you go to Beta Promotions website, you can also find details, because I have seen that they have range of products, so all sustainable thing. So excuse me. So, if you wanted to get into sustainability, and if you are thinking to transform your businesses towards sustainable merchandising, I think is the right time to start, because we are just end of the year, and we will plan for the new year after 2 weeks time. So we will get back to our work in the first week of January, and then we are thinking. So when we are thinking for new things, it has to be sustainable. Anything that you do, either merchandising or any other work, because you have seen lots of tsunamis this year, lots of climate disaster happened everywhere. And if we do not take care of our world, our country, we have no place to go. So thank you, Jillian, for your contribution today. You know, we talk about marketing, we talk about branding most of the time as a marketing company, as well as business development and software development company. We can see that branding and marketing is very, very essential for anyone. And when you add sustainability to that efforts, like, okay, you want to do branding and marketing sustainably,
Mm.
why sustainability is essential when you doing your branding and marketing today?
Yeah, absolutely. Merchandise, as part of your brand awareness, sustainable merchandise is a key part of your marketing strategy. It enhances your brand's image, by having sustainable merchandise out there. It builds consumer loyalty towards your brand. It gives you market differentiation between yourself and your competitors. It also reinforces your CSR, and it can also generate positive PR for you.
Mhm. So, uh, you know, um, when businesses they're thinking for to go beyond their beyond their level of branding or materials, sustainable branding of their marketing and promotional materials can give them the extra edge to the market, isn't it? So
Yeah,
I have seen that we also do branding and promotional materials, and we also, when I order product, I think, okay, how sustainable we are, because you probably know that I just recently joined Green Threads DPP. So part of the Green Threads DPP as a COO, we are developing a system, AI system that we just will work with the garments, so textile industry. So what
yeah,
we are doing, we are developing a system that will create DPP, like digital product passport, for
yeah,
garments in textile industry. And the consumer. We are in a 21st century, and we are targeting Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And when we talk to Gen Z and Gen Alpha, we all the time we can see that they have a shift towards sustainable. They have a
mm,
shift towards eco-friendly things, and as well as saving the world. So if we are not targeting now, right now, it will be very late for the businesses to convert these population as their customer in the future. So, uh, my next question would be, when you source environmentally friendly materials, what are the best practice to source them?
yeah. So one of the main things, obviously, is partner with certified suppliers. So while you out there looking and see what certifications that they have, also prioritizing the types of materials that you're looking for. So make sure it's something that's made out of recycled materials, organic or biodegradable, something like that. You also have a look at your supply chain transparency from the suppliers that you're going to be using, trying to minimize your packaging that you're going to be using as well. And also like supporting local wherever possible. If you can actually buy, within sort of driving range, it's not that far. So it's not necessarily actually coming by air, any of the products that you're using. It is difficult in the UK, even just in terms of merchandise, because they stopped manufacturing a long time ago, and so a lot of products are made overseas that that are sustainable merchandise, but and so in Asia, but there is a lot happening now in Europe. So more and more products are actually being manufactured in Europe, which obviously then lowers the carbon footprint of the products. And then just actually, buying products that are durable, so not something that's not obviously just cheap and nasty and gets thrown away quickly and you have to replace it. Something that's actually going to last a long time, even using a material like recycled aluminium or something like that, that has got a long lifespan.
Hmm. And when you talk about sustainability and the targeted audience, like as I mentioned earlier, Gen Z and Zen Alpha, uh, we have to also think about the design element of the product as well. Because when you think about sustainability, there are critical elements to it. That, okay, how can you make a sustainable product? How can you design a appropriate sustainable product to target a different target audiences? And what elements contribute to the effective design of promotional products? How can you make it more sustainable?
Well, obviously the main answer to that is it's actually what are the materials that you're using. So when you're designing promotional products, you would look at the types of products that have been made from recycled materials. There's a lot of agricultural waste actually that is now being used to manufacture promotional merchandise. So, for example, notebooks are made out of coffee beans. There's notebooks made out of recycled milk cartons, that type of thing. There's even leather look-alike that you wouldn't actually tell the difference. It's made out of apple pulp. So, there are a lot of options out there now of the types of materials that you can actually use, and even ones obviously are biodegradable, because that will help a lot, with waste. Again, products that are durable, making products that have a minimalistic design, so there isn't loads of parts to the actual item, and products that actually use energy efficient processes, production processes, using compact packaging. So, it's obviously not taking up loads of space when it's being transported. And then products that actually have certifications or labels on them.
That was a great answer. And I have related a question for that as well. Before I jump into my question, thank you, Jillian. We have audiences online, and we have some more questions to discuss. But before I jump into that, I just wanted to ask to the audiences, if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box, and we will continue this conversation beyond this live. So if you wanted to ask anything to Jillian, feel free to ask her through these events, comment sections, and as well as you can DM her directly. So my next question, as we are talking about target audience and future audience, as so how businesses ensures their product resonate with the target audience.
Yes, I think the main thing with that, in order to choose the right product, the client will have to do research on their target audience, and what their values and preferences are, and their sustainability concerns. And then also products that would align with their brand, solving real problems that they have out there, and also to incorporate trends, making them modern and relevant. So again, it's not products that just get handed over and then it's just going to go in someone's bottom drawer. You actually want it to be used, and actually have a purpose, and obviously that way your brand is getting a lot more coverage than just being put in the bottom drawer somewhere. And even by actually providing bespoke products, something that's made specifically, for your brand.
Thank you, Jillian. When we target audience and in business development and marketing, I have seen that some of the companies, when they start their business, they have a specific idea to bring lives, and when they brought that idea to their target market, sometimes they do not understand the core niche of the market or audience. So they might do something that is not totally relevant to the target audience. So your answer gave a future direction to those businesses. They wanted to source sustainably, or they wanted to think about their target audience. Because if you do not understand your target audience, even if you do source sustainable product, they will be wastage, because you cannot utilize them properly.
Yeah.
So before anyone jump into any conclusion that okay, they're going to be sourcing sustainable product, they have to understand their target market, and based on the target market, they have to source the product for them, for better utilization of the resources.
Yeah.
So in relation to that, we talk about sustainable goals, sustainable marketing alignment, and a lot of other things. And there are a lot of buzzwords when you do marketing, and as well as all other things you do. You know that we talk about AI all the time.
Mm.
And you know that AI is the biggest polluter of the environment, because the millions, trillions of hard drives they are running, and they are polluting the world. But as we said, that we have to leave, we have to embrace new technology, and we need to find a solution how we can make it sustainable. People are working towards it. Hopefully, we will get a resolution very soon. So, when we talk about sustainable gold and sustainable marketing alignment, how can business incorporate sustainable into their brand strategy?
Basically, I'd say, talking about the initiatives that you're involved in. So, and engage with stakeholders to join you on your journey. So, everything is actually just being quite transparent about what you're doing. And again, things like, any packaging that you're using for your products, change to sustainable packaging with that. And then measure and report progress on how your company's doing with the steps that you're taking. No one's going to get it right from the beginning. There's just so much work to be done in terms of making your company more sustainable. But if you actually sort of open and honest, and this is what we'd like to do, and then you are actually documenting your progress, and you letting your clients know where you are on that journey.
Mhm. Thank you, Gillian. And the next question is my favorite, and I think that is also viewers' favorite, because lead with examples. Because we wanted to have some examples. So, can you provide an example of successful eco-conscious campaign within your company, or how do you do it?
Yes. Well, for example, I mean, this is really a simple example of a difference that we made here in the New Forest. So we're fortunate to live in the New Forest and surrounded by the beauty of the forest, plus all the animals roaming free, which is the donkeys and the ponies and the Highland cows, which is really lovely. And we have in one of the towns close to us a local food bank. And that food bank packs bags every single day. And basically, they have 500 food parcels, which were packed in plastic bags going out every single week. So that's over 2,000 plastic bags going out into the environment every month. And they called us in and we had a look, and we worked out the most economical way that we could actually change it. And so we have now made not recycled, organic bags for them, with branding all over the bag saying, this is the property of the food bank. Please return it if found. So if someone else has actually taken it, then obviously they can drop it back at the food bank. And by doing that, we've removed all of those plastic bags out of the forest monthly. And because the bags go flying around in the air and everything like that, every time there's a windstorm, the animals eat them and they die. And
Mhm.
so that is another way that we actually protecting the forest. And those same bags now get collected by the food bank and brought back and recycled again. And so they've been used again and again and again. Whereas the plastic bags weren't. They were literally just being used and then put in the dustbin, or just chucked outside. So that's made a huge difference in the New Forest.
That was a great example to lead on our conversation, Gillian. So, the Christmas is just next week, and we also have a Christmas background today. You can see the Christmas
Yes.
out there, and we have some more lives this year to winding up our work, and we're going to be starting new year with new thinking and more towards sustainability. And you know that sustainable is not a posh thing nowadays; it's our necessity. We have to be sustainable.
Mm.
Anything that we do. So when in my I have a understanding, or I have a character, like, okay, when you go to the toilet, you turn around the taps, and I have seen that people, they are just brushing their teeth and they are running the taps.
Yes.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
So I had a guest, and that guest was doing like that, and what I did, instantly I went there and I just tapped the I turn it off, and I said, that's not sustainable. Can we think sustainable? thing, because when you're brushing,
Mm.
you don't need to turn your tap
You
on.
don't need that tap to be running or shaving or anything like that. Yeah, it's just a
So
constant flow of water.
so everything, like, okay, in that I'm from Bangladesh, and there are meters on gas. So people usually, those houses, they don't have meters. They turned your gas on all the time, because the thinking of wastage of a match,
Mm.
matches that you stick. What they do, they just turn it on all the time, and you are destroying the world by doing that. So if we don't think about
Mm.
sustainable life, sustainable living, sustainable all those things, at the end, we are the sufferer. That the recent disaster, lots of people died, and we are paying the price, isn't it? And specifically, um, we have to uh, be sustainable and take it seriously. So our next segment is going to be practical tips for businesses. So we're going to be talking more about sustainable things. So what steps can small and large businesses take towards sustainable merchandising? What is your suggestion to them?
Yeah, there's obviously all different options, but the first thing I would do is assess your current procurement policies, because there are many items that are on there that you're purchasing regularly,
Mhm,
and that could have an option, a sustainable option. So even as say something as small as a pen, and there's sustainable options for to actually suit every budget. So definitely go through, everything that you're actually ordering within your company. And then even, for example, with uniforms, if you are purchasing uniforms, there are many uniforms now that are being made from recycled materials. So again, it's becoming part of the circular economy. So using products that have been used before and they actually just get put back into the system as part of the donut economy is
mhm,
being able to to use things again and again. um, and again, packaging is a big thing where it obviously depends on the type of business that you have, if you and what products you are selling yourself, is reducing the amount of packaging that you are actually using, or even packing products in old boxes and old packaging. You don't have to keep ordering all these new boxes that come in, stock boxes, to send your clients products out in. You can actually just reuse boxes that you've used for products coming in. So you know what I mean. It's actually doubling up on the packaging, and actually cost effective for your business as well. And even things like, for example, referring to merchandise, at Christmas time now, if you are obviously be too close to Christmas now, you will have done this, but for next year, if you're going to be sending out Christmas cards, you get Christmas cards that are actually made out of seeded paper, or seeded cardboard. And so when you finished with those Christmas cards, then you can plant them in your garden, and by spring you will actually have a range of wildflowers. And even, in fact, we just did now a Christmas tree for the local chamber. And with what we did with that was we used like cardboard decorations that were actually also, they were shaped in like a star and a Christmas tree, and also all full of seeds. So that's what was hung on there. And then we used hessian. We made hessian bows and things like that, which were made out of hessian that we'd used for a summer party last year. So again, using materials that we had to make something, to decorate the tree. And the lights were made out of bamboo. And so that tree actually was in fact bought as well, and the money was donated to charity. So the things were used again and again, and I think that's something that it's just about recycling all the time as much as you possibly can.
mhm. Thank you, Gillian. We are just middle of our program, so we're going to be having another half an hour to talk about sustainability. So I would request all the Viewers, if you are watching this live through LinkedIn, please feel free to ask us any question. And if you're watching this any other social media, you can also ask us question through the comment box, and we'll be more than happy to answer your question. So we are talking about sustainability today, and you know that sustainability is not a choice now. It's mandatory. You have to do it, because if you don't do it, we will, in the future, we will have no place to live. So think about sustainability, and please support our work. And that's the thing. um, my son is just came here. He knows that I'm doing my live, but he didn't bother. He's at home, so do excuse me for that. So think about sustainability, and if you do not think about sustainability, there's going to be a problem. So when my son was here, we talk about sustainability a lot. So I can give an example. He had a school meeting, and when he had school meetings, and he opened the door, and my wife is shouting. So it's anyway. So just give me 1 second. Uh,
Sure.
I have to shout it back. Sorry for the inconvenience. When he was in school meeting, we talk about sustainability a lot. So when we talk about sustainability, uh, he is the people's leader in school, and they were thinking to add something to the school ground. And when people asked what they wanted to do, so some pupils, they said, okay, why don't we knock off the trees and make it a playground? And he protested, like, okay, we can't knock trees down, guys, because that's not sustainable, because trees give us oxygen and a lot of other things. So instead of knocking trees down, how can we incorporate trees within the playground to make it more nicer? So these are the our future generation. They think about sustainability, and they wanted to work on sustainability. So as a business, when we target individual genres, when we target people, uh, we have to think sustainable, because unless these generations, Gen Z and Gen Alpha, we will not get into their radar, because they will only will work with those businesses they are sustainably working. So in that, um, to continue my conversation to the next question, we talk about sustainables and our businesses they're watching today, and all the businesses that we're going to be talking to in the future. Uh, are there any tools and resources available to support eco-friendly business initiatives?
Yes, obviously there are plenty out there, and it's really based on the size of your business as to which ones you would use or wouldn't be relevant to you. So there's certification bodies like B Corp and Fair Trade, which B Corp, you have to be a fair sized business, and it is quite an expensive journey to get B Corp certified, but it does give you a lot of credibility once you've actually got B Corp certification. There's supply chain platforms like EcoVadis and Supply Shift. There's also sustainability assessment tools like Carbon Trust footprinting. There's life cycle software platforms like SEMA Pro, energy management software solutions like Energy Star Portfolio Manager, waste reduction apps like Too Good to Go or Share Waste. That Too Good to Go is that's a little app. I mean, that's ready for absolutely anybody. We have them around here where businesses actually, so for example, if you take Morrison's, at the end of the day, their bakery might have some cakes left and things like that, and they don't want to just put them in the bin or dispose of them that way. So they put them on Too Good to Go to say, we've got these products and they're available at like 10th of the price, but you have to fetch them by 8 o'clock tonight. And then you book them and you say, right, I want those, and then you go and actually fetch them. So it's a simple app that actually then also stops food waste. So, you know what I mean, from B Corp ones, which are obviously huge for bigger corporations and organizations, to small things, even within your company, where you can actually save food waste. And then there's a climate action platform that I personally use for my business called Ecology, that offsets the carbon that my business produces and we invest then in planting trees and renewable energy projects. And they really low cost platforms that you can actually be on. It's all related to the size of your business as to how much you would actually invest in the company.
Thank you, Gillian. It was really fascinating talking to you today and talk about sustainable merchandising and new businesses will emerge in the future, and we will talk about sustainability, and we will implement and as well as bring this sustainability to the future. So we have a question from Asama, and what are effective ways for businesses to identify eco-friendly materials?
I think that refers back to one of the questions I discussed earlier, which was about the products, what they're actually made of.
Mhm.
So, you know, the eco-friendly products, which would be made of the materials, basically, which would be like, you know, bamboo or recycled materials, something like that. So they would all have, you know, some sort of value to them of sustainability. So that one is pretty straightforward. Hopefully, my earlier answer actually answered that question.
Mhm. We talk about sustainability, and you are working many years now, and we will talk about now about you achieving your awards on sustainability. Uh, I think the start and getting these awards wasn't very, wasn't very smooth. So how did you? So we can talk about why you have started sustainable merchandising, the motivation behind it, and as well as winning the awards. So uh, specifically, if I ask you, like, okay, why you think to start this business, like sustainable merchandising?
Um, well, my background is normal merchandising, which in South Africa, which I started that business 30 years ago. And the business, I'm still involved in the business, so it's still continuing. And obviously, in the days when I started the business, there wasn't such a thing as sustainable merchandise. So it was just normal merchandise, which is made out of plastic materials, etc. And then when I came to the UK and I decided to start the business here as well, I just thought, you know, there's no point in continuing with the way it's been, because we have to change, you know, and especially the environment that I actually live in the New Forest. It's so beautiful that we have to protect this, because we don't know, you know, how long we'll have it for if we carry on the way that we are. And so for me to go into merchandise, the other 2,500 companies that are out there, they've been doing it. And so they are in it. They're in it with the plastic. And for them to change, you know, their whole business model is quite difficult, you know, because, you know, they have to completely change the structure of their company. Whereas I had the opportunity to go, okay, no, I'm actually going to start right from the beginning with sustainable merchandise. And it's a hard journey. It's a long, hard journey, because it takes time to persuade people and
Mhm.
explain the benefits of why they should be purchasing sustainable merchandise for their business. So, just in that whole sort of point that I said earlier, was everybody's very quick to just keep pressing that reorder button, and not stop and look and see, you know, we need to stop this now. We need to make a change. And so therefore that's why it takes that much longer to get a business like this off the ground, you know, properly, by doing the right thing. But in the end, I know I'm doing the right thing, and I know this is the only way. There is no other way. And all the other businesses out there will follow suit, you know. So hopefully then it means I'm ahead of the game, which gives me the advantage, because I've done a lot more research into, you know, the products now than, you know, they have, because obviously they're still selling what they used to selling.
Mhm. I think that was a competitive advantage with you, because you started engaging with the people before your competitors they have started it. So
Yeah,
I think you are in one step ahead with them,
yeah.
and that's gave you the competitive advantage or within your business categories. When you have received the awards for the sustainable business, uh, how did you achieve that awards? What's behind it, apart from your efforts and all other things?
Yeah. So there was three finalists, and the sponsor of the award was actually the New Forest National Park, and obviously that is, that's a huge, covers a huge area, and they're very protective over the environment. And the other two competitors who I was against, if you could say that, for the awards, one was actually in the hotel industry. And their contribution was by using local produce, sort of within the area. And the other lady was a B Corp certified company, and so she obviously makes a difference as well by helping companies to become B Corp certified. And then mine is to do obviously with sustainable merchandise. So we were all three sort of completely different types of sustainable businesses doing things differently. And when we had to go in for, our final questions and everything, with the judges beforehand, and later I won it. And I did have a conversation with our sponsor, and he said he felt that obviously within my industry, my reach is so much bigger in terms of the change that I can make to all businesses within this area and the New Forest, where the other businesses couldn't. So, my reach is actually much bigger. And
Mhm.
in fact, winning the award has elevated the profile of my business massively. And so much so that I have been now searched out quite a few times with Dragon's Den guys and various other people. And I've also now been asked to exhibit in London next year at the Excel Arena in October for the Recycling Expo.
Mhm.
So that is actually with some of the top recycling companies that are going to be at that expo. And I will be the only promotional merchandise company who will be exhibiting there. And I will also have, be the preferred supplier for the merchandise for everybody at the expo. So again, that's like a huge reach of being able to actually get the merchandise out there.
That was fascinating, Gillian, and I think our viewers, you will have some question in the future, and as well as you can ask questions to Gillian if you wanted to engage in, and we will continue our conversation. And if you're watching this webinar through LinkedIn or any other social media, I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Time Research and Innovation, Zinzi Marketing Agency, and New Division Business Consortium. And we have Gillian Catalan from the Vita Promotions, and we are talking about merchandising today, sustainable merchandising, to be precise. Um, you know, Jillian, you have competitors that you mentioned earlier. What is your suggestion to them? Like, okay, there I can still see people, specifically merchandising companies, they source not eco-friendly product. So, what would be your suggestion to those companies? How they can change their business models that you have done and you are so successful in this field?
So are you saying what would my suggestions be to my opposition?
Yes.
Is that what you say? Oh, gee. Okay. Yeah. Well, obviously for them, they have to look at the products that they are promoting, and one by one, they're going to have to go through their product range, and actually change to something that is more sustainable. and they're also going to have to, have these conversations with their clients, because they've obviously got big clients that they are ordering, ordering from them again and again. And therefore, they're going to have to be transparent about that they actually need to change to that, and it's the benefit, for all of us. And yeah, so I don't really want to tell other people how to run their businesses, but yeah,
Yeah, thank
do
you.
the right thing.
Yes. So, when we talk about businesses, we have to do the right thing the way you did. So we have to do the right thing. As I said earlier, we have to think about the environment, our future generation, and the world. So if we think carefully, we will embed eco-friendly culture like New Forest is a I think is a very good example for all other boroughs in the UK to think about sustainability and then specifically tailor the sustainability to the culture. We talk about sustainable thing all the time, but in relation with the local council or the local government or national governments,
Mm,
I can see that there is a shift towards sustainability nowadays, but it wasn't before. So
yeah.
now they are also thinking to a sustainable a way to develop the ecosystem. We can touch some of that in our next few minutes conversation. I wanted to ask you, are there any support available for you? Like, okay, you are thinking about sustainability, and sometimes it's going to be a little bit difficult for you if you do not get support from the local government or
Mm.
national government. Are there anything out there for your business or other people they wanted to think about sustainability?
Um, I think, yeah, basically, one has to just start small, I would say, is that, you need to look within the area that you are living in first, and look at what initiatives are going on within your immediate area. And then if you join those, those organizations and see what the initiatives are, and your local council, what even, the sort of not district council but your local council, what opportunities there are with them, to actually help, and then from there the district councils, and then the county councils. So from a council point of view, but there are many, organizations and initiatives within your own, like, little village or town, that are, whether they are litter picking, or we've got one here called the Greener Brockenhurst, sort of getting rid of all the plastic in our area, and all that sort of stuff. If you buy the sea, obviously all the beach cleaning initiatives, that type of thing. So, and obviously with the bigger picture, with with governments and grants and things like that, there are grants out there for people who have initiatives that can make a difference, or maybe you've invented something that's going to save the planet. But I mean, those are long processes, but you would have to go through all the proper channels, in order to get those grants. But it definitely is becoming more and more on everybody's radar of that we have to make changes in our businesses, one way or the other.
Thank you, Gillian. We will have another segment now to talk about the ROI and sustainable marketing. So, how can startups balance sustainability with uh, affordability?
Yeah, so obviously startups are, small SMEs, companies like that. Um, and again, I'm referring specifically to my industry and my products. Is that no matter how small you are, there is a way that you can actually be sustainable, in ways that actually doesn't cost you any money, just by the way you actually, getting rid of your waste and things like that. But also in terms of merchandise, there's, that you can buy things, for as little as 50p an item type thing. So, you can do the right thing for a small fee. And ecology, like I was talking about, which is a climate action company. If you are an SME, with say like one person in it, and when you go onto their platform, you'll put all the information in about your company, but it's as little as £5.95 a month to be able to make a difference, of
Mhm.
actually to be to plant trees and to actually invest in renewable energy projects. So it really, you can make a difference out there for a really small amount of money. And as your company grows, you can say, well, for every order that's going out over £500, we're going to plant another 10 trees. Or for every 100th order we get, we're going to plant another 100 trees. So there's many ways of being able to make a difference for a small amount of money.
Thank you, Gillian. So my really connected question to this. This is my favorite questions. As a marketing company, we wanted to make things sustainable. So, what metrics should businesses use to evaluate sustainable marketing campaigns?
So obviously metrics that you can use, is measuring your carbon footprint, one of them, which, you can measure in one of your campaigns, the total greenhouse gas emissions associated with the campaign, including like your production, distribution, and promotion.
Mhm.
You can track your customer engagement rate on social media and see, are they buying into what you're saying in terms of sustainability. Tracking your sales growth on that campaign as opposed to a campaign that wasn't about sustainability. Your customer retention, are you getting repeat orders from that particular campaign, which obviously means it is being successful. The audience demographics, has that changed now, the type of people, which you can also pick up on the metrics. You can do customer surveys, and get feedback on how people are seeing that campaign. Are you getting positive media coverage and PR? That's also another way you can measure it. And if you get nominated for awards, it's another way to know you're doing the right thing.
Thank you, Gillian. I will have another two questions. I think before we end our program today, the last question we talk about ROI. So, how can businesses track both environmental impact and marketing ROI together?
Yeah, so I think basically, when you're going to be doing, a campaign, and your sort of future planning, you need to set clear objectives about what it is you want to do. So, for example, waste reduction, carbon footprint, for environmental, and increased sales, and customer acquisition for ROI. You can also use dual dashboards to track both, environmental impact and marketing ROI. There's tools like Carbon Trust that you can measure emissions, whether reduced environmental impact correlates with sales growth, or customer interest. There's also combined lifestyle cycle assessment tools with marketing analytics to assess how sustainable changes influence both product performance and consumer behavior. There's sales data, so you can compare revenue and conversion rates with sustainable products versus traditional products, attributing growth to the marketing efforts focused on sustainability. And collect data from surveys, or social media to assess consumer response to messaging, and then correlating it with the sales.
That was really contributing, Gillian. And to all the viewers, thank you very much for watching today's live webinar. We are nearly end of our session. So at the end of our session, we ask our guest speaker to add specific key takeaways for the audience to think about. And we will bring sustainable webinar in the future with Jillian as well, because we have to have more awareness to the business community, think about sustainability, and grow this conversation to the next levels. And we're also planning from green threads the company that I recently joined, to talk about sustainable growth. Like, okay, when you talk about textile and any other materials, talk about sustainability, because if you do not talk about sustainability, people will not be aware, and if they are not aware, they will not utilize the resources sustainably. So, my last questions to you, Jillian. What are the takeaways from you from this program for the audience to think about it and grow this conversation?
I think if anything, it is that I want people to go away from here and ask questions all the time about everything, that they're purchasing, from whatever it is, whatever, industry it is. Ask the questions, where is this coming from? Is it sustainable? Don't just take it that, oh yeah, I'm just buying that, and that's that. So just be conscious, be aware. Almost think of like the traffic light system of, stop, pause, and then don't reorder. It means to stop, pause, and do the right thing. So go green, basically. So stop, pause, and go green. I think, it's the awareness that you have to have with everything you're doing in life, whether it's personal or business. This is the only way we are going to actually, make this world a better place, if we are conscious of everything that we are actually doing.
Thank you, Jillian. And thank you, everyone, for joining today's live webinar. We're nearly end of our session, and I hope we have contributed a little bit of knowledge today through our program. And you know that uh, if you wanted to reach Jillian, feel free to contact her through the LinkedIn and all other social media. She can be reached. And if you wanted to extend your knowledge on sustainable merchandising, doesn't matter you are a consumer or you're a business that you wanted to transform yourself to the next levels. Uh, Jillian has the right knowledge, and she can lead you to this to more sustainable ecosystem. And it is the next that we should do. Think about sustainability and work on sustainability, because sometimes it's not a buzzwords. We just talk about sustainability, and then we are not sustainable within us. So we have to be um, committed. Like, okay, if you do anything, uh, sustainability need to be on your daily lives every day, from morning till you go to sleep. Even if you when you sleep, everything has to be sustainable, with your promotional products, with your day-to-day lives, and the way you shop, the way you travel, and the way you eat. So everything has to be sustainable, and little bit efforts will give our future generation the path they wanted to achieve, the greener country, as well as the sustainable future. So, Jillian, I just wanted to ask you the last thing, if you wanted to say anything to our audience.
Yeah, just thank you for listening. I hope that you found some valuable information about what I've spoken about today. And as Dr. Shah said, if you've got any questions, you can get hold of me via my website. And I'd happy to answer them as much as I can. And if I can't, then I will definitely steer you in the right direction for some help. But I really appreciate everybody listening in today, and thank you to Dr. Shah for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jillian. And I hope businesses are closing. Most of the businesses are closing today because next week is Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas holiday, and hopefully
Yes.
we will plan something in New Year to talk about more on sustainability, maybe in a specific direction. Please stay on the line. I will say bye bye to the audience, and then I will say you bye bye. So thank you everyone for joining today's live webinar, and I hope you have enjoyed our conversation. If you wanted to think about sustainability, this is the right time for you to think about sustainability and grow this conversation to the next levels. Please stay tuned, all the webinars that we do, and plan for the next year. If you do not think sustainability, if you do not work on sustainability, we will not have a country that we wanted to see in the future. Climate change and a lot of other things is happening, and we have to be reasonable. So thank you, and I will welcome you to my other programs next week and the following week and in new years. So until then, stay tuned and bye bye.